And we're back with another Brentocast. This is Brentocast number 40, and I believe it's been about 6 weeks since the last Brentocast. Just dropping in to catch you up while my granddaughter Delilah does her thing at Stanley County Gymnastics. So it's put me in the car with about 25-30 minutes to kill, and I thought, let me drop by and catch you lovely people up with all happenings in the world of Johnny B, all the news that's print worthy in my stratosphere. And there's quite a bit of it, I have to say. I may have mentioned previously my involvement in getting a Halloween event kicked off for Baden, since the folks that were doing the screenings last year have decided not to do it any longer. And some genius decided to put their big Native American thing on the weekend before Halloween on the green out there. It's called the Powwow Hardaway Point stuff. And I guess they had a good reason for doing it, except for, I don't know who you think Native Americans are associated with when it comes to holidays, but for me, it's not Halloween, it's Thanksgiving. So I don't understand the concept of associating it closely with Halloween, but that's what they did. Nevertheless, we'll pop out there and then try to enjoy it and everything. But I was able to convince them that the advent of having Halloween the weekend before Halloween for everybody's convenience was relatively a new thing, only popping up in the last 6 to 8 years. And they actually agreed with that. So we're doing a screening out there, games, costume contests, fun for the kids. And by the by, I created an original character called Tommy Terrors, late night horror host, down on his luck, doing whatever side jobs that he can get. And this being one of them, he pops by to host the Baden first annual Boo Fest. We're going to be screening 1991's The Addams Family with Raul Julia and Angelica Houston. And as far as the Addams Family's films and cartoons and TV shows and comics go, that particular film is not my favorite one. But I gave them a list of something like 50 films and name of the event combinations. And it was decided, it kind of came down to the Monster Squad, I think Beetlejuice, and then the original Addams Family. And because of Wednesday Addams' phenomenal performance, the show Wednesday on Netflix being so huge this year, it was decided we'd go with that one. And it was just a kickoff, and if things went well, and I do think they'll go well because we eventually got like a lot of enthusiasm and folks involved, and the Better Baden folks that I'm working with have just been awesome as far as coming up with ideas and, saying, oh, I'll handle this piece and I'll handle that, and just really helpful. And I was kind of glad to be pulled into it and have a small hand in it. I'll be the guy basically setting up the projector and the screen and a 12-foot skeleton with glowing eyes, So I also kind of coordinated a little bit with Baden Coffee so that they would not have other coffee vendors out there. And Baden has agreed to be open. That is a Tuesday night when they are traditionally closed. So they've agreed to open up for us and have some spooky treats, and that'll finally be finished. But they've more or less accepted my mixes, and I think that stuff's about ready for mastering. So had some activity around that. The recording processes of the two albums that Harrison and I are working on, tentatively titled Southern Lane, and I don't know what we're going to call the other one, the more progressive one, but those are both just about finished. I did some tests to see if I could record a live baby grand piano in another location and then have that to sort of work with the recording at Eddie's place, and the test worked out good. So now, instead of having to play a little keyboard, which is really hard for me being such an amateur-ish player, I'll be able to play on a sweet baby grand, and sometimes I'll be able to get Mark Woodward, it's his piano, to do the playing, so it'll be better. Because unfortunately, we haven't been able to get up with Dave Harper because the guy's too busy, and I respect that, but can't wait 3 months on anybody. Then I'm trying to interface with Angel Paez, which is a local guy that does bluegrass music, but he's also a fiddle player because Dale Vigil has specifically asked that fiddle be added to one of his songs, and so I'm going to try to make that happen as well. But, coming down the chute, just a lot of the stuff that I've been involved in. Obviously, fall is our busiest time with Delilah. So we're always looking to, pardon me, I'm going to turn the AC back on here so you might hear that. But fall's the busiest time as far as doing stuff with her. She's 4 now, so she's a little bit more of a handful, but I love it at the same time. So summer is, of course, in night school 5 nights a week now. Oh, geez. So we are essentially keeping Delilah 98% of the time. She stays at my mother's on Friday nights. She stays with us every other night, typically except for Sunday night. Summer literally has her 1 night a week and takes her to school 1 day per week. So we're really trying to enable her to be able to get through this aesthetics and do very well at it, and then, make a good living for herself and contribute, to keeping our business vibrant and always something new. It's about time for our renewals, and this is the last week of that. Actually, next week, I think on Wednesday is the deadline, and I'm having a little trouble logging and uploading my hours for my continuing ed, so I need to get them on the phone, and that's one of those things that's really, I haven't gotten it done this week, so got to get that done. We've got all the hours, except for our ethics, which apparently you can do online, but I just got to get everything uploaded, and somehow those folks are very slow to respond, so email is not a good way, so I got to call them during business hours. In addition to that, Nancy has gotten us more chickens. We had to get another chicken coop, so now we're at one little tiny coop, if it's just for the duo, and then the big coop, and then another big-ish coop. I really want to learn to build these coops myself, because based on where you're sitting it, you have your own ideas. But anyway, these chickens that some folks gave us are really fancy. One of them's got some health issues, so I have to kind of hand-hold him. And these are all tame as well, so they don't really run from you. But we're now producing almost a dozen eggs a day, 11 eggs lots of days. And that's exciting, because just eggs are fun. This morning I went and handed over 3 dozen eggs to Baden Coffee, and they love our eggs because A, they're awesome, and B, they're beautiful because they're blue for the most part. And so it's nice knowing that my next 3 coffees are free. So that's sweet. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna try to get through this next week and a half, and it'll be time for Vacation 2023, which every other thing that we've done hasn't been purely a vacation. We were there for training. Last time we went to Durham, we spent a ton of money in Durham, but we stayed at our favorite hotel, which is too much, and we've done that now, and I think I'm not going to do that again and just blow that much money on a 3-day stay, but it was fun. Once again, their pool was not open, even though they promised it would be. It was when I booked it until the day I got there, and they're like, oh, we're sorry, we had to close that down, and I'm like, I'm tired of your BS. I'm tanking all your reviews until you guys get that sorted. But they could tell I was upset. They have a tremendous breakfast buffet there, and they actually treated us for all 3 days of our stay. So that was, all 2 days that we woke up there. So that was sweet. I appreciated that. But, other than that, what else has been going on? Well, I did catch up with my former drummer, Bush, a.k.a. Jerry Waldrop. I'd been thinking about him, and my old Absolute Zero drummer, I'd been thinking about him, and I had run into him at the store maybe 6 months back or so. And, we promised to connect, and, he doesn't, it's not that I want to play with the guy. It's just, my old buddies are dying off. I like to just say, hey, man, you mean something to me. I appreciate you and all this, whatever. And, just see him from time to time. And I hadn't talked to him in a while, and I was getting that feeling, since my neighbor Mike Britt passed away this year, of course, that I ought to just reach out to him. Well, then I found out my number that I had for him no longer worked. Then I got up with Todd, who was the other member of our band, and he gave me the number he had, which also did not work, which didn't surprise me. Bush is one of those long-strand DNA type people. I mean, he doesn't exactly live off the grid, but, he'll never have one phone for a long time or whatever. And, your typical person without a bank account, basically, is him. And there's a lot of folks like that. It's not any kind of a slight on him, just makes it tough to catch up with him when the phone number always changed. Well, then about the time I mentioned to Nancy, I need to call Bush and see how he's doing. She's like, oh, his wife passed away. Oh, come to find out, his wife had went through this long sickness and passed away. And if there's one thing that anybody that knows Bush knows, is that he didn't get along good with his wife. And just the Lord laid on my heart that he's probably in that place where he's realizing that, she did mean something to him after all, and he's probably missing her, and he's probably sad that, he didn't tell her he loved her as often as he wanted, things like that, your typical grief type stuff. And it's funny because when a guy connected with me that I went to school with, actually one of my first bullies, of course, he didn't bully me for long, but one of the first bullies I ever encountered, this neighbor guy of mine, I'm not going to say who it is because he's an okay guy, but at that time, he had a big sister, and I don't know, he was probably bullied, and he thought he was going to bully me, but he found out the hard way that you don't bully Brent. But anyway, he got up with me. He said, hey, he knew I knew Bush. He's like, so-and-so passed away, and I just want to get the message to, his neighbor, and I know that's, the guy I used to play music with. And I said, man, I'm trying to get up with him. Anyway, long story short, he gets the word to somebody, and Bush calls me, and we had that conversation. Didn't take long for us to get around. He's like, I didn't get along with her. Everybody knows I cheated on her and all this, but you know what? It's like I'm having some issues. Like I'm, talking about grief, and he just goes on to say that apparently he did miss her. He did love her. And I'm like, dude, this is human. Like when somebody takes your world and turns it on its ear, and nothing is the way it should be. This will make you humble really, really fast. And I gotta say, all things being equal, I would just rather not be in that grieving position. Nobody would. But when you're there, you can't really get out of it. It's like you kind of got to go through that pain and suffering. But anyway, I just chatted with him. We didn't take long to get around to music, and he's having some trouble with his hands. A lot of drummers do. He's had a heart attack already, but anyway, we were just chit-chatting. He's back into going to concerts and stuff, which was cool. And we have common music interests, but it was good to catch up with him. I don't want anybody that I've actually have cared about to, for me to just be that guy that never calls or whatever, and it's just not that hard to contact. So I offered to buy him some chicken wings, and I said, hey, man, anytime you want to get lunch, let me know. I will treat you to some chicken wings, and we'll do that one day. And so maybe he will, maybe he won't. The offer's out there. Just try to keep, especially my old music buddies, in the loop and stuff. But, yeah, it's too many people dying, man. Too many people passing away. Todd's kind of back in his depression chamber now. I don't feel like I can do anything to change that. I wish I could. His sister and nephew have came back to the roost to mooch some more, and that's all I can say about that. The less said about them, the better. But it concerns me that Todd, who was not already in a great state of mind or a great place, is going to be further tormented by that, in so much as, he doesn't like it when they're there. That's my only dog in that fight, if you will. Speaking of dogs, my dogs are doing great, but the neighbor dogs really feel neglected. They bark all night, and I just think to myself every time Todd comes up, man, he would be losing his mind if he had to get woken up to barks as often as I do. Now, typically, we just turn on our sound machine and sleep right through it, but I don't know. It always reminds me of Todd just about daily. But it's my dream that, maybe one day we'd get Absolute Zero back into the same room, maybe make a couple videos or something. I don't think those guys are technically sound enough to record in the studio with me right now, unless they were to get back into playing. So who knows how that would ever happen. But I do still try to get the videos out there, and every time when YouTube pisses me off with a stupid copyright strike, for, like a cover, me playing a cover of somebody else's song, which happened to me last week. The freaking Eagles, man. Whoever owns their rights, they are just so militant about trying to keep people from playing that music. It's crazy. I mean, they've given me plenty of copyright claims. Fine. I'm not trying to make money off of it. But a copyright strike? And, of course, YouTube is practically ran by robots right now. So it's real easy to see how it gets screwed up. But I digress. Things are going well. And I do intend to try to record a Brentocast from the first annual Baden Booth Fest on Halloween night. So we'll see how that goes. Let's hope for the best and see if I can pull it off. If I can, that'll be episode 41. And I think what I'm going to do, we actually lost an episode along the way, even though I'm calling this one 40. One episode was pulled out for content. I just decided not to share it. So I am going to try to make 40 legit episodes per season, since, obviously they're never going to be like, I'm not going to do one every week. So that was my original delusion, is that I would do one every week. But, as always, the video content is there. I am looking into Elementor and learning how to redesign my site with that in the near future. Hopefully being able to navigate the videos will be a lot more usable. It's really not usable now. There's way too many videos. I've got over 500 videos on there. Even though I've started trying to put the weekly ones, give them the same thumbnail and the same name, part 1, part 2, etc. But I'm also going to start doing a playlist for each week, and that, I think, is going to be the key to getting the content more manageable on the homepage of BrentBowers.com. But all this requires me to kind of get my foot back into working with the platform, WordPress, in particular Elementor. And then maybe if I do, there'll be some side work for me out there at some point. I wouldn't mind putting my toes back in the IT world, just part-time. But I think more than that, I'm really excited about the idea of getting my CDLs and doing a little bit of commercial truck driving. It's just like farming. It's just one of those jobs that I always went, man, that is so Americana, man. That is so cool. Like, I've just always thought truck drivers did a cool-ass job, and something I wouldn't mind saying, hey, I did this for a while. Like being a DJ. I mean, I did DJ one show. It was a little bit different because mine was pre-recorded, but I did DJ one show that went on the radio, stuff like that. It's kind of cool. So, just adding to the legend, you know what I mean? The legend that is. I always tell the owner of Loafers and Legends when he's there, I'm like, when I leave here, it's just going to be loafers. It's funny. You got to know me. It's funny. Trust me. Anyway, hope you guys have a lovely week and have a happy Halloween. And we'll be coming to you live from Halloween if I'm able to pull that off technically. Have a good one. Brento out.